Hey there guys, Matthews here and welcome back to another video. So yes, today we're going to look at another one of the crafted mounts in the game. In fact, 5 crafted mounts in the game, I suppose you could say, and we're going to be looking at the crafted Panther mounts. Now these require you to be a jewel crafter to pick up. Not only do they require you to be a jewel crafter, they require you to be very well skilled in Pandarian jewel crafting, and on top of that you also have to be exalted with the Order of the Cloud Serpent. So with all of this information combined, it creates quite a nice barrier for entry, and as time goes on, less and less people are actually crafting these. I've noticed. I've actually started to steadily see the price of these Panther mounts increase over time. And as we go into Shadowlands and everybody is focused on Shadowlands, you may find that there's a nice little gap on your realm to craft some of these old crafted mounts, which look kind of cool, and people are still going to be after in reasonable quantities. It's not going to be the biggest seller for you, but they definitely still sell nicely, and when they do, they sell for a nice pretty penny, so GG on that regards. Now first and foremost, let's talk about exactly how you get hold of these patterns. Well, you may see I'm currently standing in Pandaria, and we're in the Jade Forest, and we're by the we're here on the map. Now there's some daily quests you can do here that will give you some reputation with the Order of the Cloud Serpents. Plus, if you fly around the Windward Isles, you will occasionally find these onyx eggs. They're kind of difficult to spot, but when you get hold of one, you can then turn that back in to a vendor over here, and you gain a nice little chunk of experience. So actually, gaining exalted reputation with the Order of the Cloud Serpent is not as lengthy a process as what it used to be, and actually you can do this over a couple of days, throw in some dailies in there, and you can get exalted pretty quickly. Now you don't necessarily even need to get exalted to get all of the patterns. If we go to the dude that sells the plans, you can see there's the designs for the Shadowstone, the Jade, the Sunstone, the Ruby, all of the Panther mounts. They're all here available. You can pick up the first 2 when you reach Honoured with Order of the Cloud Serpents. So you don't have to go all the way to Exalted in one go before you have access to them. The Ruby and the Sapphire ones come in at Revered, and if you want to make the Big Daddy the jeweled Onyx Panther, then you do need to be Exalted with the Cloud Serpent to pick this pattern up. But once you've got all 5, how do we go about actually crafting them? Well, the reason that spurred this video on was the fact that I was doing some leveling over in Pandaria. Now that we've had the pre-patch, leveling via herbing and mining is actually really quick if you're doing it with rested experience. And I was doing some mining over in the Valley of the Four Winds and ended up with bags and bags of ghost iron ore. And I was like, well, do I sell it? What can I use it for? There's a few options, but I thought, well, hey, panda mounts. So I prospected a bunch of it up and started looking at what exactly do you need to start crafting these mounts. Now, there's 3 main aspects to crafting the panda mounts that you're going to need. You're going to need the rare gems. Let's open the profession for you quickly. So you can see there's the Orb of Mystery. The Orb of Mystery is a vendor item. It's sold by a dude over in Pandaria. I'll put a link to exactly where he is. This is 20,000 gold. Simple, straight, flat rate, 20,000 gold. You know that's the cost of that. That's fine. But what else are we going to need? We're going to need some of the rare gems of Missa Pandaria. The 4 different coloured gems, so the red, the green, the blue and the yellow ones, to make their respective colour panthers. We're going to need 20 of those. We're going to need a few living steel, 4 living steel each, and then a couple of serpent's eyes. The serpent's eyes are very easy to come by. But how do we get all of these materials, and more importantly, how do we get them at the best possible price? So to decide that, I put together this little calculator for you. I'll leave the link for this down in the description below. I like to give all of my spreadsheets and all of my TSM profiles and everything to all of my viewers for free. No paywalls here, but all I do ask is that you give the video a like and subscribe if it's helpful to you. Now the use of this is really simple. It goes through the materials that you're going to need and tries to give you an indication of exactly what the best way to get hold of them is. So we know for the gems that we're going to need a lot of the rare gems. So how are we going to do that? We're going to prospect a bunch of ghost iron ore, potentially. So what you can do is you can put in the price of your realm's ghost iron ore, or the price you're willing to pay for it. On my realm, I can usually pick up ghost iron ore for about 5 gold a piece, and on average, to get enough gems to create some of the Panther mounts, you need to prospect 2,225 ghost iron ore. This will give you 20 on average Prospecting results are plus or minus a little bit, you know, RNG and all that. But 2,225 ghost iron ore is realistically, on average, going to be enough for you to gain 20 of each of the rare coloured gems, which will be enough to create one of each of the 4 different Panther colours, or for you to then combine all 4 of those into one jeweled onyx Panther. So it will also tell you the cost of the ore. As you see, at 5 gold a piece, it's going to say that's going to cost you about 11,000 gold in ore. But it also gives you a couple of cool information here. Now, it tells you that if the gems on your realm are under 139 gold, when your ghost iron ore is priced at 5 gold, it is worthwhile just buying the gems off the auction house. That's going to be a cost-effective way to do it. It's going to be cheaper to just buy the gems if they're under this price than it is to go out and prospect to get them. Now, you'll also notice I put Golden Lotus here. One way that you can get these rare gems is if you have an alchemist, Pandarian skill level 75 alchemist. You do have the ability to transmute the uncommon gems, which are basically just vendored in most cases when you prospect. You can transmute the uncommon gems into a rare gem. So also, if you can find Golden Lotus going cheap on your realm, it's sometimes this is also an alternative way, but of course it's then requiring not just jewelcrafting, you also need to have an alchemist. But long term, you should have every profession. That's the plan, at least. But so you can also buy Golden Lotus if it's going cheap and transmute the gems there. Secondly, you may or may not be able to get hold of this exact number of ghost iron ore. You may want to prospect more ghost iron ore. You might only have, say, if you only have 1,000 ghost iron ore, what would you expect in terms of prospecting? This calculator works out everything for you. It uses some hidden values in the sheet to work all of this numbers out, but trust me, the numbers are good. So you prospect 1,000 ghost iron ore, for example, you can expect to get 9 of each of the coloured gems. Now we know we need 20 of each to start making the Panthers, but then prospect 1,000, maybe buy a few rare gems as well if they're cheap. You can kind of work it out that way. Thirdly, there's the living steel. As you can see, we need 4 pieces of living steel for each and every Panther. And there are actually many different ways you can acquire living steel. Obviously, firstly, just buy it off the auction house. That's an option for you. Plug in your server prices here. If you can get living steel for 750 gold off the auction house, for example, that might be the cheapest way to get it. Plug in your realm's prices for these respective materials, and then this spreadsheet will tell you exactly what the best thing to do. There are actually, I think there's 9 different ways to get living steel. It's a bit ridiculous. There's so many different ways to do it, so I've tried to list all of them and their respective prices. So for example, with these prices in place, it would actually be once a day I can make a living steel for only 480 gold. I would buy 12 of the trillium ores up, I would smelt them into the trillium bars, and then I'd use my daily transmute of living steel, and then that would only cost 480 gold. Of course, you want to be able to do a repeatable option where possible. So, for example, you could buy 6 trillium ore, smelt them into bars, also buy 3 spirits of harmony, and then use the riddle of steel to then cost you only 540 gold to get your living steel. So this spreadsheet will work out for you the cheapest way to get your living steel as well. And then finally, stage number 4, there's nothing for you to input here. It's just a nice simple breakdown of the price of each of the Panthers, exactly where your gold is being spent, and most importantly, it gives you a final cost price. It's going to tell you that with the server prices that you've input previously in the sheet, it's going to cost you 25,000 gold to craft a Panther, and of course it all works itself out. So if your ghost iron ore is 10 gold on your realm, for example, and we scroll back down, you'll now see it's changed the final cost of crafting your Panthers to 28,000 gold. So it gives you a really good solid price point that you know that if you're going to put them in your TSM groups, or if you're going to sell them, bark them through trade, however you then go and plan to sell them, you know exactly what it's cost you. Once you've done all of this a few times and once you know the process, there is a super quick basic TLDR calculator. If you know the ins and outs of making your Panthers and you just want to quickly check the prices and check whether it's profitable on your realm, you can use this. It doesn't go into great detail. It's literally, what is your ghost iron ore price? how much is it going to cost you for a piece of living steel off the auction house, and then it's going to tell you what the average cost of each Panther is. So then guys, I'll leave you with that. Go get yourself some jewel crafting Panthers if they're profitable for you on your server. We're going to look in future videos in some more of the crafted mounts, as the crafted mounts are a really, really good money earner in World of Warcraft at the moment, and certainly going forward I expect it to be the same. So, like the video if it was helpful to you, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.